Hi everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. Here we are on X. The account is Visgrad24. Breaking: Yemen has declared it is officially at war with Israel. So that kind of caught my eye. We've talked about escalations and where this war is going to go. Still kind of waiting for Hezbollah to really go full force. Not sure if that's going to happen, but there's been some skirmishes with Hezbollah in Lebanon. There's been clashes in the West Bank, but still the main war is taking place in the Gaza Strip. And so this seems to be a new escalation. So we're going to look into this. We're also going to look at the Gaza Strip and what progress Israeli ground forces have made because the ground invasion is underway. And then I wanted to go to my quotes A through Z spreadsheet and talk about a few quotes that I've collected. One under the row, sensationalism, couple under the row, spectacular, and then probably some, if not most, or all, of row 110, which is spiritual experiences. Just because, you know, I'm actually recording this on Halloween, and I've been wanting to share these and then take the highlights off them. And so these three topics go really well together, and I thought it'd be good to share. So before we get into that, here is the update on the Flood the Earth Challenge. Actually, it's not an update. I haven't updated it since the last video, but we're at 7,197 copies of the Book of Mormon that have been shared so far, and 755 people that have joined the challenge. Please consider doing so. All you got to do is send me a comment in any video or send me an email and use hashtag flood, and then I'll add you to the tracker. We're trying to get to 10,000, and as a channel goal, try to at least share 10 copies of the Book of Mormon. Okay, so let's go back here. So I don't just take, these posts from different accounts on X. I don't necessarily just take their word for it. I want to go and verify that that's actually true, because that's a pretty big claim that Yemen has declared war. So this is what I found. I found this website, amwaj.media, that says, deep dive: Houthis effectively declare war on Israel after drone missile barrage. I'm not familiar with this news site, but let me just show you a few things that they say, and then I'll show you what ABC News says. Okay, so the official entry of the Houthis into the Hamas-Israel conflict follows warnings from Iran that the Gaza war may trigger the quote-unquote opening of new fronts. Sari confirmed this narrative, saying that what quote expands the field of the conflict is the Zionist enemies' continuing perpetration of crimes and massacres against the people of the Gaza Strip, end quote. The opening of a Yemeni front exposes Israel to further external attacks at a time when all-out Israeli confrontation with Lebanon's Hezbollah movement looms. A Houthi entry into the Gaza war may also come to engulf Gulf Arab states and the U.S., potentially unraveling the UN-mandated truce in Yemen. The effective Houthi declaration of war cements the Yemeni government or movement's status as a member of the Iran-led axis of resistance. Of note, the Iran-led constellation also gathers Syria, Lebanon's Hezbollah movement, as well as armed groups in Iraq. At a time when Arab publics are outraged by the violence in Gaza, the Houthis may additionally be girding to build regional legitimacy after years of harsh criticism, particularly in Gulf Arab media. So if you didn't know, there's been a civil war going on down here in Yemen, and there's different groups. And here's the breakdown. So the green color is the Houthi movement. Okay, so they're in charge, or they have control currently of like this part of the country, including Sana'a or Sana'a, which is the capital city and the largest city of Yemen. So I think that they're standing to benefit by showing, leadership and, well, it says some more things about why they're doing this. Observers have also highlighted internal reasons for entering a conflict with Israel. Ibrahim Jalal, a non-resident scholar at the Middle East Institute, has argued that the Houthis have, quote unquote, 4 primary motives: deflecting rising discontent with its governance, rallying support at home, boosting morale among its fighters, and to increase leverage in the ongoing peace talks with Saudi Arabia. So it may not be that they're simply outraged at the situation, although they probably are, but they stand to benefit from it. So we'll have to see how this goes. There are some other details about this. Let's go to ABC News. Yemen's Houthi rebels claim attacks on Israel, drawing their main sponsor, Iran, closer to Hamas war. Man, and if that happens, that is going to be pretty interesting. Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Yemen's Houthi rebels for the first time Tuesday claimed missile and drone attacks targeting Israel, drawing their main sponsor, Iran, closer into the ongoing Israel-Hamas war in the Gaza Strip and further raising the risks of a regional conflict erupting. The Houthis have been suspected of an attack earlier this month targeting Israel by sending missiles and drones over the crucial shipping lane of the Red Sea, an assault that saw the U.S. Navy shoot down their projectiles. And as that's happening, there is a rocket attack immediately north of the Gaza Strip. And I'm guessing that's probably because there's military units up here, Israeli military units. We'll look at that map in just a minute, what Israel's done. Yeah, you might remember I did a video where we covered that, where the USS, I think it was the USS Carney, shot down 3 missiles headed toward Israel from Yemen. This time on Tuesday, however, Israel said its own fighter jets and its new Arrow missile defense system shot down 2 salvos of incoming fire hours apart as it approached the country's key Red Sea shipping port of Eilat. So let's take a look at that. I think Eilat is right here. Yep, there it is right there. Like at the very bottom tip of the country of Israel. So here's the Red Sea. And it looks like there's, docks and stuff like that. So let's zoom out. So again, here's Israel right here. Here's Saudi Arabia. And here's Yemen at the bottom tip of the Arabian Peninsula. And here's the Houthi area right here in the west. Okay, so they shot missiles and sent drones to Israel and targeted Eilat right there. Okay. Quote, our armed forces launched a large batch of ballistic missiles and a large number of drones at various targets of the Israeli enemy. So, ballistic missiles. I'm not like a weapons expert, but so far it seems that most of what's been involved in this war has been like rockets from Gaza and maybe some larger like missile type things, but I don't think that there's been anything as big as ballistic missiles. And this is what the Houthis in Yemen say that they fired at Israel. Let's see. And then continuing with the quote, this is from Brigadier General Haya Sari in a televised statement. The Yemeni armed forces confirmed that this operation is the 3rd operation in support of our oppressed brothers in Palestine and confirmed that we will continue to carry out more qualitative strikes with missiles and drones until Israeli aggression stops. Okay, so I haven't seen anywhere where they have officially declared war, but like this article here by Amwaj says, how they have effectively declared war. I think it's this part right here. We will continue to carry out more qualitative strikes with missiles and drones until the Israeli aggression stops. For Israel, Tuesday's attack marked an incredibly rare reported in-combat use of the Arrow missile defense system, which intercepts long-range ballistic missiles, with a warhead designed to destroy targets while they are in space, according to the Washington-based Center for Strategic and International Studies. Sari, that's that brigadier general, did not identify the specific weapons used in the attack. However, the use of the Arrow suggests it was a ballistic missile. The Houthis have a variant of its Burkhan ballistic missile modeled after a type of Iranian missile believed to be able to reach over 1,000 kilometers, which is 620 miles, to strike near Eilat. Sorry, I mispronounced it the first time and probably the second time too. The Houthis' declaration further drew Iran into the conflict. Tehran has long sponsored both the Houthis and Hamas, as well as the Lebanese Shiite militia group Hezbollah, which continues to trade deadly cross-border fire with Israelis. U.S. troops also have been targeted in drone attacks on bases in Iraq and Syria claimed by Iranian allied militia groups since the war started. Okay, so here is basically a new official escalation. Even though they didn't say that they declared war, they've expressed their intent to continue to attack Israel. So at the moment, as far as I can tell, the main war is in Gaza with Hamas. There has been fighting and skirmishes in the West Bank. Nothing like really big, I don't think, but there's been skirmishes and small arms combat and stuff like that. And then there's been this kind of like cross-border like skirmishes between Hezbollah and Israeli forces here, but it doesn't seem like Hezbollah has fully committed itself yet to the war, and it hasn't like launched a full-scale attack on Israel, but it seems likely that that'll happen. So that's kind of what's going on. And then now Yemen says that it's going to continue to attack Israel, I guess with ballistic missiles and drones, and who knows what else. All right. Now in Gaza, just really quick before we move on to these quotes. So this is the northern part of the Gaza Strip right here, this green colored area. So here's the Gaza Strip right here. So we're looking at this right here. This is Gaza City, where it says Gaza. And here's Gaza City here, where my mouse is. So these blue areas are the areas that are controlled, I guess, by Israeli forces, and you can see they're coming in through 3 different areas. But a significant place is right here because it's cutting off this main road that connects this area up here, Gaza City, and these other cities, and the southern part of the Strip. There is another road over here, but it doesn't seem like Israel controls that road yet, but I'm sure that within coming days they probably will. And so you can see they're basically surrounding Gaza City in the Gaza metro area. In the lead up to this, if you didn't catch my other videos and you haven't seen, Israel's dropped a number of times, at least like 2 or 3 times, leaflets telling civilians to evacuate south of this red line right here. You see that? I was watching I-24 News on YouTube today, and they were interviewing some expert. I'm sorry, I don't remember what he was. I think he was a retired general, but he was talking about the fact that like nobody really knows what the outcome is going to be, other than that Israel will win. They have all confidence that they're going to win this conflict, but they don't really know what's going to happen with Gaza afterwards, like who's going to administer it. They've talked about closing off this border And I think somehow having this be under Israeli control, the border between Gaza and Egypt. So, and then he was talking about the fact that once they take care of this northern part of the strip, at some point they're going to have to continue and then go south and continue hunting anyone that's affiliated with Hamas. But right now, he said, they're not focusing on that far into the future. They're just looking at the months ahead. And right now, the focus is simply right here, and that it's going to be a long and difficult war. And yeah, it's this hasn't happened before. So we're in uncharted territory, and this escalation with Yemen, like the article said, it's probably going to open up new escalation, whether it's with Iran itself or maybe somebody else. So the situation is very fluid, and things are just descending even more into chaos. Okay, so just wanted to share that with you. By the way, today has seen, and when I say today, I'm talking about Halloween, October 31st. That's when I'm recording this. Today has seen some kind of like medium size, maybe like medium large rocket attacks. It's, I guess, from, because it doesn't say like where these rockets are coming from, but I'm assuming that the vast majority of them are coming from the Gaza Strip. So somehow they still have rockets to fire. I wish I could like see everything and see like how many more rockets do they have? How many more people do they even have to fire rockets? How many more tunnels that are storing rockets? I find it kind of puzzling that they're still able to do this when we're this far into the war. And I think today is the 25th day of the war. So they're still firing off rockets. At some point, I would imagine that this would stop. Like there won't be any more alerts coming in through here, or if there are, that they would be coming from the north, from Hezbollah. Or I don't know. At this point, maybe Yemen. I don't know. It's just weird. It's interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and let's move on, and let's go through some of these quotes. So I've talked about many times how in this particular community, the LDS Second Coming community, unfortunately, it seems like there's a lot of sensationalism, spectacularism, going off in strange paths, going down weird rabbit holes, inventing new doctrine or twisting things to like, twisting doctrines into like almost like a trademarked belief system that is not even taught in our church at all, and yet claiming that it's teachings of the church. And it's been pretty disturbing for me this entire time that I've done this channel. I've seen just so much of it, and I'm sure that you have too. And I just want to share things that, servants of the Lord have said in regards to these type of things. So why don't we just start off with this, with sensationalism. Okay, this is from Harold B. Lee. At this time, he was first counselor in the first presidency and president of the Council of the 12. The name of the talk is To the Defenders of the Faith, April 1970 General Conference. The next matter I would like to speak of for just a moment is to set forth in a letter from the first presidency, which was sent out in August 1913 as a warning to the members of the church, and which was repeated by some of the leaders near our time and could well be repeated today. I read this letter from the first presidency, President Joseph F. Smith, Anthony H. Lund, Charles W. Penrose, in 1913. It has been entitled A Warning Voice. I may have already read this before. I don't know, but it's okay. It's okay. Let's read it again, if that's the case. To the officers and members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. From the days of Hiram Page, D&C 28, at different periods there have been manifestations from delusive spirits to members of the church. Okay. We really need this today. Now, I'm not in a position to tell the church what to do, nor would I ever, but I feel like this could really be used today. At different periods, there have been manifestations from delusive spirits to members of the church. Sometimes these have come to men and women who, because of transgression, okay, let me highlight that, become easy prey to the arch deceiver. I think, you guys, we really need to look at ourselves and ask, are we truly, really worthy for a temple recommend? Or are we going off and doing things that we know are not right, and therefore becoming easy prey to Satan and his followers? That's a question that we have to ask. If you're going off on a strange path, and you know you're on a strange path, is there also some kind of transgression that's not resolved? Continuing, at other times, people who pride themselves on their strict observance of the rules and ordinances and ceremonies of the church are led astray by false spirits who exercise an influence so imitative of that which proceeds from a divine source that even these persons, who think they are the very elect, quote unquote, find it difficult to discern the essential difference. Okay, so it sounds like, to me, we're talking about extremes. People that go off on weird paths, but also people that become kind of pharisaical, sometimes inventing rules that don't exist. For example, saying that you can't drink caffeine. That's something that I feel has hurt the church more than helped. And I don't know how it started. I've actually wanted to do a video about it, but I know that it's not the church's position that you can't drink soda or Coke. It's probably not a good idea. Caffeine's not good for you, but we shouldn't be like going around being inquisitors and telling people that they shouldn't drink, Mountain Dew because it's against the word of wisdom or whatever. And again, like I always say, I think in a lot of these cases, narcissism is probably involved, because if you're somebody that's trying to be strict with the rules, there's a good chance you're doing it because you're wearing the LDS costume. You're doing it for appearances, just like the Pharisees. You're showing off how righteous you are, or at least you want people to perceive you that way. You're doing it for selfish reasons, because of your image that you want to portray, the costume, the facade that you're wearing. So anyway, you could see how someone like that would be taken advantage of by false spirits. But anyway, extremes. Just follow the church. It's all you have to do. Just look to the prophet and the apostles. That is it. Okay. If things need to get more strict, if the Lord wants to crack down on things, like, for example, the correct name of the church, then that'll come through the prophet. We don't need to become these people that get extreme. Okay. And speaking of Halloween, by the way, today is Halloween as I'm recording this. I found it a little disappointing. There's people that seem to think that they know better than the church, saying that the church shouldn't have Halloween parties. And that's where we start getting extreme, thinking that we know better than the church, and we're being excessive. Now, look, I'm no fan of Halloween. I did a whole video about this. I'm not a fan of Halloween. Like, we do it. We're about to go trick-or-treating. There are some fun aspects to it. It's not all evil. We don't have to have black and white thinking. We can celebrate the more wholesome aspects of it. But when you start like being truer than true, or thinking that the church is wrong because it allows church Halloween parties to happen, I think that you might not be on a good path because it's extreme. What other extreme things are you doing? Okay, continuing. Satan himself has transformed himself to be apparently an angel of light. When visions, dreams, tongues, prophecy, impressions, or any extraordinary gift of inspiration conveys something out of harmony with the accepted revelations of the church, or contrary to the decisions of its constituted authorities, Latter-day Saints may know that it is not of God, no matter how plausible it may appear. And let me tell you something. The church has talked about many different practices and things that people engage in, and yet there's still this like justification. The church has made clear its position on things, and yet there's still justification. All faithful members are entitled to the inspiration of the Holy Spirit for themselves, their families, and for those over whom they are appointed and ordained to preside. But anything at discord with that which comes from God through the head of the church is not to be received as authoritative or reliable. In secular as well as spiritual affairs, saints may receive divine guidance and revelation affecting themselves, but this does not convey authority to direct others, and is not to be accepted when contrary to church covenants, doctrine, or discipline, or to known facts, demonstrated truths, or good common sense. And believe me, there are plenty of people lacking good common sense that get caught up in schemes and fall victim to predators, essentially. No person has the right to induce his fellow members of the church to engage in speculations or take stock in ventures of any kind on the specious claim of divine revelation or vision or dream, especially when it is in opposition to the voice of recognized authority, local or general. The Lord's church is a house of order. It is not governed by individual gifts or manifestations. Let me read that again. It is not governed by individual gifts or manifestations, but by the order and power of the Holy Spirit, of the Holy Priesthood, as sustained by the voice and vote of the church in its appointed conferences. It never ceases to amaze me, you guys. These people that go off on in these like strange paths where they teach their own brand of the gospel and do weird things these groups that are like, oh, I know how to get your calling and election made sure. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's not going to come through someone like you. It's going to come through an authoritative source. It's going to come through the proper order of things. Don't listen to those groups. Okay, the history of the church records many pretended revelations by impostors or zealots who believed in the manifestations they sought to lead other persons to accept, and in every instance, disappointment, sorrow, and disaster have resulted therefrom. Financial loss and sometimes utter ruin have followed. We feel our duty to warn the Latter-day Saints against fake mining schemes, which have no warrant for success beyond the professed spiritual manifestations of their projectors and the influence gained over the excited minds of their victims. You guys, this is the same thing today. You know the phrase or the saying, there's a sucker born every minute. Don't be that sucker. I did a video about pyramid schemes and these other types of schemes that con men get into, where they promise you big things if you only pay them money, or you only put up the upfront cost and then everything works out after that. Like the whole thing runs itself once you get it up and going. Anyway, I'm not going to continue on that, but it's the same stuff today. There's still people that get into these strange financial situations. Like usually it's presented as like, oh, this is the secret way to get rich, or this is the easy way, or you're tired of your job. Well, don't worry, I got an easy way for you to make money. It's so just like cartoonishly obvious, and yet people still fall for it. Don't be one of those suckers that the predators are able to trick and take advantage of. Okay, we caution the saints against investing money or property in shares of stock which bring no profit to anyone but those who issue and trade in them. Financial schemes to make money for the alleged purpose of redeeming Zion, or providing means for the salvation of the dead, or other seemingly worthy objects, should not deceive anyone acquainted with the order of the church, and will result only in waste of time and labor, which might be devoted now to doing something tangible and worthy and of record on earth and in heaven. Message from the First Presidency, compiled by James R. Clark. Okay. Sensational stories. That's the next portion of this talk. It never ceases to amaze me how gullible... I can't even read it without laughing. Okay. Here we go. It never ceases to amaze me. This is not me talking. This is Harold B. Lee. He must feel the same way. Oh, please, if you're watching this, don't be those people. Don't be this type of person. It never ceases to amaze me how gullible some of our church members are in broadcasting sensational stories or dreams or visions or purported patriarchal blessings or quotations or supposedly from some person's private diary. Oh, okay. I might be a little bit guilty of this. The quotations. Some people have sent me things that I couldn't verify, so maybe I need to be more careful with that. Okay, maybe I'm the problem here. Not really, just maybe a couple times. For instance, there is one vicious story to the effect that one of our general authorities is allegedly being urged to present himself to lead the church contrary to the Lord's revelation, and to make people think there is some division among the authorities of the church. Investigations have indicated that the named writer of these forged letters is fictitious and does not exist. Can't be found in the records of the church or anywhere. Addresses given are spurious, and yet the amazing thing is that we find that these I don't like this word. How do you pronounce this? Spurious? I have to look it up. Pronunciation. Let's see. Practice. Allow. No. Just play it for me. Spurious. Here, I'll practice it. Spurious. Oh, it's because this other program's using the mic. No, I did it. Good job. I did it. All right. Now I can come back here. And yet the amazing thing is that we find that these spurious writings in some of these purported revelations, which we found upon investigation are absolutely false, are finding their way into our Relief Society meetings, into priesthood quorums, firesides, institutes, and seminaries. Oh my gosh. Brethren of the priesthood, you defenders of the faith, we would wish that you would plead with our saints to cease promoting the works of the devil. Spend your time promoting the works of the Lord, and don't allow these things to be found among those under your charge. For they are the works of Satan, and we are playing his game whenever we permit such things to be heralded about and repeated and passed about on every side. I can think of right now, today, certain books and other things that are being passed around and accepted as truth. All right. False reports. One of our brethren is supposed to have had a patriarchal blessing saying that he would preside over the church when the Savior came. This is, of course, false. Another one among us has been said to have declared that there are some living today who will see the Savior when he comes. This, again, is fictitious. Well, the Master said that the time of his coming would be as a thief in the night. That of the time of his coming, not even the angels of heaven would know. If we would stop to think about it, nobody with any authority would ever say that such a declaration could be authentic. Well, I'm still going to go ahead and trust all the different quotes that we have talking about generations, including Joseph Smith. But if it comes from like a weird source, like something that's supposed to have come from a patriarchal blessing or something like that, then no. But if it's officially been said in general conference or whatever, I'm probably going to pay attention to that. Anyway, continuing on. So we could go on. One of our brethren was reported to have said that the people of California should move up to the tops of the Rocky Mountains, that only there would be safety. Oh my gosh, what is this thing about people thinking that they have to travel these like large distances to find physical safety? What just... Contrary to that, we are constantly saying to our people that safety is where the pure in heart are, and that there's just as much safety wherever you are if you are living and keeping the commandments of God. Oh my gosh. I need to separate this from this quote and put it in a different row about safety. I know I need to put it on my common misconceptions spreadsheet. The idea that you have to go somewhere, you have to physically go somewhere to find safety. That's something that is also promoted, either in an extreme way, like that story that we read about the people that went up to Idaho and went into the mountains, or were going to go into the mountains. Either there's that, or there's other people that talk about having to go to Jackson County, Missouri in order to find safety. It's not true. It is not true. I have all the quotes from authoritative figures, prophets and apostles, that say as much. And here's the newest one. In fact, I already have a misconception for this, but it's talking specifically about New Jerusalem. This one is more, this is like broader than that. Anyway, I'll figure it out after this video. Brethren, I repeat, don't allow the works of the devil to be paraded in our midst and become the subject of discourses or lesson materials. Speak of the works of righteousness, and the power of the devil will begin to cease among you. Oh, so good. So good. Okay, let me take the highlight off that. No, let me color it this color so that I know to come back and add that. Okay. Spectacular. I might need to merge these two rows, spectacular and sensational. Okay, this is from Elder Boyd K. Packer, acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. Personal Revelation, the Gift, the Test, and the Promise, October 1994 General Conference. This, President Romney said, is a very common means of revelation. It comes into one's mind in words and sentences. With this medium of revelation, I am personally well acquainted. We do not seek for spectacular experiences. President Spencer W. Kimball spoke of the many who, quote, have no ear for spiritual messages. When they come in common dress, expecting the spectacular, one may not be fully alerted to the constant flow of revealed communication. That's really good. I can't say that I've come across that too much. Maybe you have. Feel free to put it in the comments below. Change names if you need to protect people's identities. But expecting like big manifestations and not realizing that you can receive revelation all the time. And I feel like I do. And it's not big, it's not spectacular, and it's about practical things having to do with my family, friends, our house, doing YouTube, and other things of which are just like day-to-day life and objectives that take a long time, like becoming a more righteous person and overcoming this weakness or that weakness in your personality or whatever, how to properly parent this child when you have these other children, but this one seems to need something different. Please help me. And then you receive that revelation of how to deal with that and how to effectively meet that child's needs and stuff like that. And so many other things, So yeah, if you're waiting for big spectacular things, you're probably missing quite a bit. All right, I'll take the highlight off that. Okay, the next one. This is from Elder Graham W. Doxey of the 70. The voice is still small. October 1991 General Conference. President Spencer W. Kimball, a man with unique experience in all levels of church leadership, described the subject that has been on my mind since this speaking assignment came. I apologize to Elder Packer. I realized that I was prompted by the Spirit. I know that he is, and I have found my thoughts going in much the same direction that his went. President Kimball said, quote, "The burning bushes, the smoking mountains, the Comoras, and the Kirtlands were realities, but they were exceptions. The great volume of revelation came to Moses and to Joseph and comes to today's prophet in the less spectacular way, that of deep impressions without spectacle or glamour or dramatic events. Always expecting the spectacular, many will miss entirely the constant flow of revealed communication." End quote. Dramatic and miraculous answers to prayer may come, but they are the exceptions. Even at the highest levels of responsibility in this kingdom of God, which is being built up upon the earth, the voice is still small. In the Bible, we read of the account of an earlier prophet who was rejected and discouraged. The word of the Lord came to Elijah when the children of Israel had forsaken their covenant and thrown down altars and slain prophets. He was told to go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and brake in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. My testimony is that the Lord is speaking to you, but with the deafening decibels of today's environment, all too often we fail to hear him. All right, so that was really good. Now, let me just check how we're doing. Let's read a few of these under my row called Spiritual Experiences. Okay, this is from Boyd K. Packer, The Great Plan of Happiness and Personal Revelation in The Things of My Soul, a book called Things of My Soul. And I got to fix this. Got to fix the way that I formatted this. Okay. Dreams and visions and visitations are not uncommon in the church and are part of all the Lord has revealed in this dispensation. Thus, a worthy church member may be the recipient of a marvelous spiritual experience. I have come to know that these experiences are personal and are to be kept private. Recipients should ponder them in their heart and not talk about them. Those personal spiritual experiences do not convey any authority to direct the lives of others unless the recipient is the father or the mother or one who has been properly called and set apart. I have heard of like instances where people, they'll feel like they were prompted by the Spirit to tell somebody else that, you know what, I felt prompted that you should do this, that you should take this life action. And that is just, it's not right. It's not right. It's not right. You don't receive revelation for other people. You may receive like revelation knowing what to say, like when someone's having a problem, like, you're praying and you ask for help to help somebody else with a problem, but you don't receive revelation for them. I've heard of instances where people were like, I received a prompting from the Lord and you need to do this. And that's not how it works. And I always cringe when people, because sometimes I'm sure people are flat out lying. There are people that will make up experiences for attention, to feel special, right? Other times, there's probably people that do share spiritual experiences that actually happen that are true. But either way, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit, because if it is somebody that's looking for attention, then it's like, you're doing that. Like you're fabricating a spiritual experience to get attention. Or, other times I cringe because if it's someone that's sharing a true experience, and this is one reason not to share your patriarchal blessing. You have other people that will get jealous, will try and discount your experience, or they'll try and interpret what happened to you, and that's not their lane. And some people play that game. They play the competition game. It's like my patriarchal blessing versus yours. Oh, mine's longer. Oh, yours says this, but look what mine says. So it's like that's one of the reasons that you need to safeguard spiritual experiences, because not everybody that you share it with is going to treat it the same way that you do, and they may try to diminish it. In any case, it was for you in a way that you can understand, and maybe they don't have the way to understand it the way that you do. Okay, next. Also from Boyd K. Packer, address given at a seminar for new mission presidents, June 25th, 1982. I got to fix the format on this as well. I have learned that strong, impressive spiritual experiences do not come to us very frequently. And when they do, they are generally for our own edification, instruction, or correction. Unless we are called by proper authority to do so, they do not position us to counsel or to correct others. Later on, he says, we are expected to use the light and knowledge we already possess to work out our lives. We should not need a revelation to instruct us to be up and about our duty, for we've been told that already in the scriptures. We should not expect revelation to replace the spiritual or temporal intelligence which we have already received, only to extend it. We must go about our life in an ordinary workaday way, following the routines and rules and regulations that govern life. Okay, next. Also Boyd K. Packer, the candle of the Lord, in that all may be edified. I have come to believe also that it is not wise to continually talk of unusual spiritual experiences. They are to be guarded with care and shared only when the Spirit itself prompts us to use them to the blessing of others. I am ever mindful of Alma's words. It is given unto many to know the mysteries of God. Nevertheless, they are laid under a strict command that they shall not impart, only according to the portion of his word, which he doth grant unto the children of men. according to the heed and diligence which they give unto him. I heard President Marion G. Romney, First Presidency, once counsel mission presidents and their wives in Geneva, quote, "I do not tell all I know. I have never told my wife all I know, for I have found that if I talked too lightly of sacred things, thereafter the Lord would not trust me." Wow. And that's interesting. You know, who knows what things could be revealed to us, and it's probably not going to be crazy, wild things, but who knows what kind of things could be made known to us if we would just keep our mouths shut and not get up in fast and testimony meeting and share these unusual spiritual experiences, the way that Elder Boyd K. Packer put it. Yeah. All right. Next. Okay, this is from Joseph Smith in Journal of Discourses, Volume 6, page 240. "We may look for angels and receive their ministration, but we are to try the spirits and prove them. For it is often the case that men make a mistake in regard to these things. God has so ordained that when he has communicated, no vision is to be taken but what you see by the seeing of the eye, or what you hear by the hearing of the ear. When you see a vision, pray for the interpretation. If you get not this, shut it up. There must be certainty in this matter." Let me pause here. And I wonder if some of these people that get off on strange paths and get into very questionable practices and weird things, if they do that, because I feel like I've heard many times like, "Oh, I felt the spirit and this is right," and da 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 da. But I wonder if you've actually asked if it was right, if you tried the spirits, or did you just go with it? Joseph Smith says there must be certainty in this matter. An open vision will manifest that which is more important. Lying spirits are going forth in the earth. There will be great manifestations of spirit, both false and true. Being born again comes by the Spirit of God through ordinances. An angel of God never has wings. Some will say that they have seen a spirit, that he offered them his hand, but they did not touch it. This is a lie. First, it is contrary to the plan of God. A spirit cannot come in glory. An angel has flesh and bones. We see not their glory. The devil may appear as an angel of light. Ask God to reveal it. Right there. Ask God to reveal it. If it be the devil, he will flee from you. If of God, he will manifest himself or make it manifest. We may come to Jesus and ask him. He will know all about it. If he comes to a little child, he will adapt himself to the language and capacity of a little child. Every spirit or vision or singing is not of God. The devil is an orator. He is powerful. He took our Savior onto a pinnacle of the temple and kept him in the wilderness for 40 days. The gift of discerning spirits will be given to the presiding elder. Pray for him that he may have this gift. Speak not in the gift of tongues without understanding it or without interpretation. The devil can speak in tongues. The adversary will come with his work. He can tempt all classes, can speak in English or Dutch. Let no man speak in tongues unless he interpret, except by the consent of one who is placed to preside. Then he may discern or interpret, or another may. Let us seek for the glory of Abraham, Noah, Adam, the apostles who have communion with these things, and then we shall be among that number when Christ comes. Okay, this is short. Let's just read this too. This is found in History of the Church, a letter from Joseph Smith and Frederick G. Williams to John S. Carter. It is contrary to the economy of God for any member of the church or anyone to receive instructions for those in authority higher than themselves. Therefore, you'll see the impropriety of giving heed to them. But if any person have a vision or a visitation from a heavenly messenger, it must be for his own benefit and instruction. For the fundamental principles of government and doctrine of the church are vested in the keys of the kingdom. All right, so that's it, and that was pretty good. I personally avoid anyone that gets engaged in these practices. I don't want it around me. I don't. There's always a dark feeling with some of these popular things going on in the church that the church is counseled against. There's always a dark feeling. It's gross, and it should be avoided. And if you yourself are practicing it, then again, just listen to everything that we've read. Listen to everything that we've read. Check yourself, try the spirits, look at yourself, and if you're in transgression currently, because if you are, then you're prey. You're easy prey. So those are the things that we should look for, and we should avoid these strange works of darkness and spectacularism and stuff like that. All right, well, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.